Today I want to have a very serious conversation with every single Canadian that is in their pre-retirement years that actually has anybody that is financially dependent on them. And today I want to talk about term life insurance. Now, as an insurance agent, we have basically three jobs when we start talking to people. Our first job is to figure out what their actual need is for insurance. Second is how long do they have that need. And then third is to present options to them depending on what their actual needs are. And for a lot of people, having a conversation about life insurance is actually very difficult, which makes it sometimes hard to get it in place. People have a whole bunch of different objections and thoughts about life insurance, and usually those objections and thoughts are really, really wrong. So today I'm going to talk about some of the common objections that we would hear, and I'm going to be really, really over the top and sarcastic and aggressive with my answers. In order to get into that character, I'm going to turn my hat around exactly like Sylvester Stallone does in Over the Top, and I'm going to get really aggressive in the hopes that you guys understand what I'm talking about. So one of the very first and biggest objections we'll hear is somebody will say, I don't need life insurance. That's stupid. Have you ever thought about it? Okay, let's think about it this way. What if you could no longer work for the rest of your life as of tomorrow? Would your family be okay? And if they would, why don't you retire right now? Because you're absolutely useless. Second, sometimes I hear this, I think it's ridiculous. I don't believe in life insurance. That's not like a choice. It's not like believing in the Sasquatch or the Yeti or whatever. Life insurance is a real thing. It's a ridiculous objection. If you have that thought process or rationale, you're kind of the same as somebody that actually thinks Austin Matthews is better than Connor McDavid. If you think like that, I'll probably just leave the room. A lot of people will say, well, I have life insurance at work. And that's absolutely great. But do you know what your life insurance at work is? Probably 1 times your salary. So let's do it. Go back to the first one. Let's say you got paid out tax-free 1 year's salary. Would you be able to retire and support your family for the rest of your life? Probably not. Have you ever thought about leaving your job? Or is there a possibility that you're going to get fired? Well, maybe you should consider getting some real life insurance on top of that. You hear this a lot. It says life insurance is too expensive. Life insurance can be expensive. Your friend was probably sold some crazy expensive product they didn't need. But do you think buying a case of beer is expensive? Because I could honestly get a 35-year-old who's in good health life insurance for $500,000 for less than a cost of a case of beer every single month. Is that too expensive to protect your family? I don't really think so. And I have heard this next one before, which is awesome. I like it. It's just, I will not die. And then I was like, are you the Highlander? Or are you a vampire that stays away from Blade and doesn't really have any problems with Buffy? Because if you're not, guess what? You are going to die. And hopefully you don't die when you're getting old and before old age. And that is why life insurance premiums are inexpensive, is because the likelihood of you passing away is actually quite low. Now you hear this a lot, and I get it, but some people will say life insurance doesn't pay out. And that's a really common misconception, because sometimes insurance and not life insurance doesn't pay out. And I'm not going to go ahead and say that insurance companies are like angels or anything. But life insurance is a very, very simple contract. All it is it says, if you pay these premiums, we are going to pay you this amount if you die. And the reason why it does pay out is because they do the underwriting before the fact, and they actually send out the contract to you that says, we've looked into your lifestyle and your health, and we believe that we can take this risk based on you. And the only reason it might not pay out is, one, if you committed suicide within the first 2 years of getting it, if you go to war and die in that war, or if you were completely fraudulent on your application. So they found out that you just, you were in jail and then you said you'd never been in jail. Well, they won't pay it out in that case. And lastly, I hear this all the time. People say, I don't like needles. Are you a baby? Because my 3.5-year-old son isn't even that afraid of needles. But that's actually besides the point now, because in reality, they don't need to do that very often anymore, and in most cases, you can get insurance without ever getting off your couch. I could honestly get you life insurance without you ever having to get off of your couch. All you have to do is answer a few questions on a phone call, and as long as they think you're in reasonable health, they're not going to come by and take a needle from you. So really, I mean, the bottom line is, yes, I got serious and aggressive, and I'm sorry about that. But what I really want anybody to think about that has kids or a spouse or anybody that's financially dependent on them, life insurance is very important, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It's just something that everybody should have to protect their family. Please share this video with your friends, and thank you very much.